So East Mesa is kind of like its own little, like it's part of Mesa, but it's a little bit separate from Mesa. It's just a bunch of subdivisions, and it definitely has a different feel than Gilbert. Um, it's it's not super big. I mean, it's a very small part of the Gilbert mission. But it's pretty similar to Gilbert in the fact that there's just a lot of members, very nice houses there, just really good people. Yeah, there's not a whole ton just because it's a part of Mesa, so like a lot of the shops and things aren't in East Mesa. You would either travel to Mesa or to Gilbert, so it's just kind of just like a bunch of houses that are there. As far as like jobs go, there wouldn't be like any popular job there. It's all pretty sporadic. But in Mesa, there's a lot of places to go. Mesa is very big. So there's a lot of really cool shops, like malls and stuff, but those are out of our mission, so I never went to them. But I did get to go to the Mesa Temple because every year for Easter, they do a Mesa Easter pageant where they perform this play kind of musical thing that's huge, and they play it in this field right next to the Mesa Temple, and you're allowed to bring investigators there. But yeah, they just portray the life of Christ, and it's ginormous. Like 10,000 people go every night, and it's the biggest Easter pageant in North America or something like that. And then for Christmas, they kind of do something like Temple Square, where they have just a ton of lights and choir performances outside, because it's Arizona and it's warm enough that you can do that, and like a nativity scene. And so those are two reasons that you could leave the mission, is either to go to the Christmas lights with an investigator, or you can go to the Easter pageant. So one of my most fond memories from Mesa is the youth, just because the youth are so awesome there. They have such a desire to share the gospel. And so we would go a couple times a week, I think, early in the morning, and we would go and share a message with the seminary students. And so we would just share a quick message with them and then go out and work some more in our area. And then when the next class would come, we would come back and share another little message with that class. And so that was really fun because they were so supportive of us. You know, they were just very loving and always wanting to find a way to share the gospel. And so one of our investigators, actually, her name was Geneva, and she was the girlfriend of a member, and she started going to church with them. And so then we started meeting with her, and it was all because of Taylor, her boyfriend, you know, and that he just was a great example to her, that she felt comfortable learning more. And that was actually the last area of my mission. And when I was leaving that Sunday, for a while, we would always ask her in all of our lessons, we would say, "Oh, do you want to say the prayer?" And she was always like, No, I can't say the prayer. And then I told her a story. I told her about how when I had got switched to Spanish speaking, I was so afraid to pray in Spanish, but I would write down my prayers, and then by writing them down, I felt more comfortable saying them out loud. And then pretty soon, the more that I wrote them, the more I was just able to say it on my own. And so then I told her, I thought, maybe you could write down your prayers and maybe that will help you feel better. And so she started writing down her prayers. And then so she wanted to say a prayer with us before I left home. And so that Sunday she called us, and, well, no, she didn't have her phone on her, but she was running all over the church trying to find us before we had left. And she runs into the Relief Society room, and people were already trickling out, so there wasn't as many people. And she comes running in. She's like, "I'm so glad you guys didn't leave, because I want to say a prayer with you guys before Sister Hanson leaves. And so we're like, okay. So everybody left, and it was just the three of us in there. And she goes to pull up on her phone to read her prayer, and it wasn't there. Like, she might have accidentally deleted it or something. And so she just looks at us in horror, like, I don't have my prayer. And we're like, well, you don't have to do it. It's okay. And she's like, no, no, no. I really want to pray with Sister Hanson before she leaves. And so she was like, okay, I'm just going to do it without it. And so we're like, okay. So she says the most beautiful prayer ever, just straight from the heart. And I just have no doubt that, Taylor was such a big part of that, her boyfriend, that he was such a great example to her. And so just seeing what the youth are capable of was just astounding to me.